This film, I mean, it only was possible because of a very deep rooted friendship I have with several people in the water slums of Bahia, Brazil, but in particular, Norato, who is a character in the film. He's a refrigerator repairman, and the story kind of unfolds from his perspective. And so he's actually somebody, I actually lived in this particular slum and worked as a volunteer for a grassroots organization years before making it. And he's somebody I got to know during that time. I was very much an outsider, but I had the access of an insider, I think because of my friendship with him and also because of the year and a half I'd spent living there prior to picking up a camera. And then when I heard that that the government had plans to displace the entire population that lived on the water, I just very simply thought, well, that's worth following, and someone should pick up a camera and follow this through. And so that's what I set out to do. The three families that were chosen in the film, they just struck me right away as being the most charismatic and having the most interesting stories, and also representing such a diversity of the reality in the water slum. I mean, Dona Maria, one of the women, has 19 children and makes her living as a trash picker. Whereas Jenny has one child, and she's very worldly and very smart and works as an assistant manager at a very high-end pizza place. So you can see that it's not just one type of family that lives in the water slum, that there's this spectrum. I shot it over 6 years. When I started the project, I had no idea it was going to take that long. I mean, the demolition of the slum was slated to happen like within a year, and it just kept getting postponed, and that actually ends up being part of the story. But about 2 or 3 years in, I realized that I was still a long way from the final chapter, but I was content with that. I loved working on it, and I believed that rather than, contrive some alternative ending for the story, it would be better to stick it out to the end, and kind of see where these people are ultimately moved to when their houses come down. I met Academy Award director Daniel Youngie, and he had just started a film called They Killed Sister Dorothy, which takes place in Brazil, and it follows the aftermath of the murder of Sister Dorothy Stang. And so he was looking for somebody who could work as a translator, Portuguese-English translator, who also had some background in editing. And so, it was through that strange combination of skills that I got to work with him and ended up working with him on several other projects. I think with this particular film, the editing and the directorial leadership were so closely intertwined. It's an observational film. It's largely observational, and it's also in a foreign language. So it would have been very difficult for somebody who didn't speak the language to edit it. And so because I was so close to the footage, because I shot it, so I have the memory of those events and those moments unfolding, and, because I just was so entrenched and spent so much time watching and getting familiar with the raw material, it just sort of primed me to edit it. Late in the film, once we got our invite to South by Southwest, we launched a Kickstarter campaign, and were able to raise money to finish the project and get ready for our premiere just through small donations from friends and family and people that came across our project on Kickstarter. I've talked to a lot of my colleagues about using it and also exploring other opportunities like Indiegogo. There's some benefits to their model, that Kickstarter doesn't have. But yeah, it's the democratization of the filmmaking process. Like, it's no longer just open to people who have connections and money and whatnot, but anyone with a good idea and a catchy idea and a good way to pitch it can make art today, and I think that's a very positive thing. There's just a few simple outreach goals for the film that I feel like have to be met, and if I don't meet them, I would feel like I haven't quite finished the job, and that would, after already working on it for 6 years, I do want to feel like we've done everything we can to sort of push this forward in a positive direction. There is a film festival happening in just a couple of weeks in the city of Salvador, Bahia. We're going to screen there, and we're working very diligently with the festival to put together a well-publicized event and bring in the governor and officials from the Urban Development Ministry to watch the film and have a dialogue with us and with the community leaders there about why things haven't moved forward.